I thought of thee and thought it fine to pair thee with a deep red wine, to spread thee on the crusts of time. I thought of thee, a thought divine. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I have here a very special rifle. I'm calling this the M1 Car-Bling, because somebody has refinished this and we've got quite a lot of bling here. The bolt is shiny, appears to be chrome plated. This butt plate and screw look like they're chrome plated. Even right here we have some chrome plating, and a lot of the blued parts have been polished up. It's the M1 Car-Bling. This came into a local shop recently, and I want to thank John for making this one available to us to evaluate. But this one has led an interesting life. It's been refinished, very sadly, so the collector's value is just gone. Oh, does have the original little oil bottle. That's kind of cool. A lot of those are missing. And we've got what appears to be the original or an original sling, USGI sling. But at some point in its life, someone polished this barrel and reblued it. Polished that front side assembly, reblued that. Barrel band, that got polished up and blued. Even that sling swivel has been highly polished and blued. That barrel band is marked JM. Is that Marlin? It's an Underwood receiver, so I don't know what to make of that. It is marked US caliber, US carbine, caliber 30. M1. Maybe you can tell I don't even know how to describe this color. The trigger guard, this whole assembly has been polished up, and then I'm assuming that somebody went for blue on this and it came out sort of this plum color. It's almost brown, almost like a burnt bronze, and we get something really similar on the op rod. It's all polished up, and it came out this, I won't call it an ugly color, but it's certainly unconventional. The receiver has been polished up. It actually came out blued. This is an early gun with the early style safety. It does have a bayonet lug, which not all of them do. The bayonet lug did not get polished, as near as I can tell. It's still got a matte finish on it. Even the screw got some polish up here. And then, as I said, we've got this part chrome plated, the bolt chrome plated, the extractor chrome plated. The butt plate has been, I'm assuming this is chrome plate. That's what it looks like to me. That screw got chrome plated. Somebody lost his mind. The wood has been refinished. It's got a sort of a satin finish. Not really glossy, but it's not, I assume it's been refinished. The butt plate is maybe just a little bit proud, although I don't know. Maybe that's been sanded down, maybe it hasn't. It looks like it's been refinished. I'll say that. Because you wouldn't get such a shiny finish on a military gun. It is possible, I guess, that this has just been touched enough and picked up enough over 80 years, enough skin oil, what have you, that it looks a little shiny, except it's very uniform. The cap out here at the very end, the end of it is dark, but the rest of it is very uniform. Usually you get darker places where it's been touched a lot and lighter places. I'm going to say the wood has been refinished too, so it's weird. Even these little controls got polished up. They're on the trigger guard. So there you go. It's the M1 Car-Bling. Collector's value is gone, but it should still be a good shooter, and we're going to find out. And a shooter carbine is very valuable these days because the collectors have kind of run everybody out of the market, almost everybody, when it comes to shooters. If you want one to shoot, boy, even this side assembly has been polished and reblued. That thumb screw's been polished and reblued. That screw got polished and reblued. Everything got polished and reblued. But if you're looking for an M1 carbine that's just a shooter, some people love them as shooters, and they've gotten so expensive that it's hard to justify buying one as a shooter anymore. Well, if you can find one, if you can find a Car-Bling, somebody's gone crazy, you might get it at a very good price. This one in the shop that made it available to me, it's going to be selling for a low price. I'm not allowed to say what, and I'm not allowed to say where that is, but because it has been refinished and it looks kind of crazy now, this one is just not bringing a whole lot of money. Further, I'm sure you can see this. Not only did it get polished, reblued, whatever, but since then some rust has gotten on it. It has some rust spots for sure, and that's a shame. But I had a look down the bore. The bore looks like it's brand new, shiny like a mirror, strong rifling. So I have high hopes that this gun will perform well. It just doesn't look that great. All right, let's try one round and see what happens. Let's try 4 more. Well, Boom Guy's old eyes do not really love this rather small aperture, but you know, it's a 30 carbine. Recoil is very mild. Functions reliably so far. Let's go look at the target. Okay, here's my aiming point, of course. Hits in no particular order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Full disclosure time, because you've seen me shoot pistol groups tighter than that. Boom Guy does not shoot a rifle well at all. Offhand, that may actually be about the best I can do. So is this carbine just not particularly accurate? Does it not like that ammo, or does that represent Boom Guy's poor shooting ability? Probably poor shooting ability. But I mean, it's reasonable, well centered. The hits are a little bit high, but I mean, we're only shooting at 25 yards. This is made to shoot. That sight is probably set for 100. To me, that's acceptable accuracy, considering I'm terrible with a rifle. All right, that was shooting from the bench. Hits in no particular order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, just a little bit high, much tighter group this time, which suggests that that bigger group was more me than the rifle. Strung out vertically, again, that probably has mostly to do with my old eyes and being unable to center the post reliably in that relatively small rear aperture every time. If you're shooting in combat and you're shooting at people who are standing, well, a little vertical dispersion is not a big deal, because you know, you're still going to get hits somewhere on the body. Left and right, windage is probably more important. It seems to be just about dead on there. It's a shooter carbine. I'm not going to say it looks ugly, but it looks unconventional, and the rusted parts are ugly. That probably needs to be touched up a little bit, but the gun still works. It's over 80 years old now. Old Underwood carbine. It's World War II era. It was made for Nazis It still will, by the way. And yeah, it's a lightweight, handy rifle that is still useful for combat, useful for defending your life. Accuracy is good enough, especially in the hands of somebody who shoots it well. I shot these 5 off the bench, and M1 carbine off the bench is stupid and an insult to all riflemen everywhere. And if anybody with a Ouija board contacts my grandfather and tells him that I did this, he will come back and slap me silly. So please don't tell him. Don't tell him I ever shot an M1 carbine from a bench rest. But this gun still delivers the goods. This gun is still capable of defending your life. This would be a dandy home defense rifle. It's a fun rifle for the range. 30 carbine ammo is in short supply these days, and it's expensive when you find it. So that's one strike against this. But if you've got a good supply, or if you, I mean, it's not ferociously expensive. It's no more than 308 Winchester, which is among centerfire rifle ammo, one of the more affordable cartridges. So it's not terrible. But if we're comparing it to 5.56 NATO, well, for 223 Remington, you get that stuff for less money. And it's got a similar recoil impulse. And 223 Remington gives you better terminal effect and a greater range, flatter trajectory, etc. Although it is quite loud. This is, comparatively speaking, not so loud. So, you know, whatever you think. But this is still a capable carbine. It's light. It's easy to handle. It's a pleasure to shoot. For people with short stature, you know, not me, easy to handle. Even after just 10 rounds, you may notice our blinged out bolt has picked up quite a bit of fouling, and that'll have to be cleaned. So that's one problem with the bling. It just picks up filth really quickly. But I won't say I grew up shooting one of these. My grandfather had one that he bought through CMP back in 1969, 70, something like that, before I was born. But he had one that I shot. I don't remember if I ever hunted with it. This is not a great deer rifle, although it's not hopeless. Some people think it's awful, and it can bring home venison, but it's not ideal. Anyway, when I was a kid, he at least briefly considered sending me into the deer woods with one of these. I don't remember ever actually hunting. I remember going to the range and shooting it, and I think I ended up hunting with something else. But my grandfather had one, and I shot it some growing up, not a whole lot. It was fun to shoot. It was neat part of American history, military history. And shooting this one brings back some fond memories. I don't know. M1 carbine to put a smile on your face. Guys, let's go back to the bench. Guys, for those who are curious, the ammo we're using today is Monarch 30 carbine brass case, 110 grain full metal jacket. Of course, 110 grain full metal jacket is the load for 30 carbine. There are some, you might find some flat point bullets, some soft point bullets. You will find hollow points occasionally. And you'll even find them in other bullet weights. But 110 grain full metal jacket is by far the most common. 90% of the ammo in the market is this stuff, maybe 99%. It's incredibly, incredibly common. This is the original load, the military load. This one is marked at 2,001 feet per second. Typically the military loads are listed as being under 2,019 and change, something like that. But yeah, 2,000-ish, 1,900-ish, whatever. But this is brass cased ammo. As I said, this stuff is in kind of short supply. When you find it, it's more expensive than it used to be. And so, like, I have guys who'll hook me up with some ammo. They'll help me out. Hey, I've got some leftover stuff you can have, whatever. But no, I didn't know anybody who just had a bunch of 30 carbine laying around. So I was on my own for this. I dug around in my ammo stash, and this was the first box of 30 carbine that I could lay my hands on. I just got it with a bunch of old other ammo years ago. I was like, oh, there's a box, boom, grabbed it. I actually thought it was steel case when I first grabbed it, but it's brass case, which I think is better. The gun was really made for brass case ammo. It should work with steel case just fine. This stuff was made, Monarch is the store brand for Academy Sporting Goods. So if you haven't heard of it, if they don't have Academy in your part of the country or whatever, that's why. It's just a store brand of ammo. And if you have Academy, you've probably seen Monarch around. And of course, Academy doesn't make any of this. They contract out with Winchester or PPU or whomever, Tula or Barnaul or well, not so much Russian, not the Russians these days because of the war and the embargo, but they'll contract with whomever to make their ammo. This particular box is marked Made in Serbia, so I would bet you dollars to donuts that this was made by PPU, by Privy Partisan. I may be mispronouncing that because I'm an American, but Privy Partisan ammo is generally very good ammo. If it's something they've been loading there in Serbia for a long time, it's usually really good. If it's military kind of ammo that they've loaded a lot, yeah, they're really good at making it. Most of their pistol ammo is really quite good. Gosh, I've shot a Glock 42 that like their ammo and just about nobody else's. Some of their sporting ammo, though, I'm thinking specifically of 30-30 Winchester. In 30-30 Winchester, their ammo has a reputation for giving sticky extraction. Either the brass is too soft or maybe it's loaded a little too hot. I don't know which. But the Serbians don't have a great tradition of being lever action shooters, right? They have a military tradition of shooting semi-autos, and they had a military tradition before that of shooting bolt rifles, and they probably have a sporting tradition of shooting bolt rifles. But lever action guns or sporting guns that don't have that primary extraction, they don't have a rotating bolt to really twist that cartridge case out of the chamber, and so you can't run them at really high pressures for the most part. And I think that's the problem. I think the Serbians have a little bit of trouble understanding that, hey, we Americans are weird and we like lever guns, and we have a tradition of lever guns, and lever guns don't give that primary extraction, so you can't run them quite so hot. But this is a military caliber. They seem to know what they're doing here. I don't have any complaints about this ammo. I don't have any complaints about Privy Partisan for the most part, in fact. So that's the ammo we were shooting. Gave good results in this gun. Of course, we only fired a few rounds. But M1 Car-Bling, it's fun. It's a shooter. I don't have to worry about messing it up because somebody else already did. The original finish is gone. The collectability is gone. It's just a workhorse, useful carbine now, and it's a shooter. And it performs well, and it puts a smile on my face. Easy to handle, easy to carry. Hard to say enough nice things about it, even if it looks unconventional. Guys, as always, thanks for tuning in. Keep your powder dry.
Sun is down, guns are down. Good night, YouTube.